Hey, Steve Zalunardo here with Remax Experts, Zalunardo Associates. Happy Monday morning. Quick update in the market. Current inventory, we're at 24,163 units, so just down about 200 since last week. But the biggest gain was in sales. Last week we had 525 sales. This week had 757 sales. Doesn't sound like much. It's like 200 more. But if you actually put it in percentage forms, like 45% more sales than, let's say, the week prior. So definitely positive there if you kind of look at it on a micro scale. What we're seeing in real estate right now, yeah, it's an ebb and flow right now. It's more ebb than flow, to be honest. We are moving products. Clearly, we just launched that Nobleton site or the Tribute site in Nobleton. We have now, there's 5 sales on the board currently right now at 22 units. Again, remember, these are priced between 2.4 million and 3.8 million, so it's definitely an upper echelon type market in affordability. But it's still moved quite well in the first weekend. Mike had a few appointments on Saturday, and we'll see what's going on with that. But still, people to come out and spend 2.5 to 3.5 to 3.8 million dollars. One gentleman bought one of the larger lots, and that's a $250,000 premium. And that's I'm just looking at the map at the site plan as I'm doing that, and that's going to be a 70-footer on there. So that's you're probably about $4 million all said and done. When you put the specific model on there, plus the upgrades and the lot, you'll be a little bit over $4 million. So yeah, people still coming out with money, which is great. It's a 15% deposit structure plus 25,000, so it's not like the usual 25% or 20%. But at the same time, like 2.5 million at 15%, you're over $350,000. So it's a substantial amount of money. And what we found, to be honest, blindsided is going forward, even as a realtor, is the one of the biggest holdback from a lot of the buyers coming in was driveway space, and they're all looking for at least a tandem, so 2 to 3 car tandem, so to have like 4 to 6 cars on the driveway at all times, plus the garage itself. And it wasn't just one buyer that was coming in on the launch on Wednesday. It was literally 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buyers with the same theory. I was in the end ready to crush one last deal for the night Wednesday. It's just, again, I'm an introvert, so having big crowds is not my forte. So it's literally having everybody in there, and then I kind of stayed at the front, kind of greeting all the realtors and clients coming in, because I felt like it was an empty spot there. And then so I kind of sent everyone at the back to Mike, and Peter was there too. And so I didn't do much work by trying to sell it by the boards. Then at the end I had this one opportunity, and it was like, we're good. Daughter lives in the area, we're gonna crush this deal. It's like, it's a good way to end an evening. And it's the bloody driveway. We tried everything to go around it. Even if we got a corner lot like lot 11 on the 50s, even 17, you can in the future you can kind of build out your driveway to have a third car there, but it just wasn't going to work. So it is what it is. You win some, you lose some, but that would have been a really good way to end that evening. That's pretty much it. I'm looking at real estate news. It's hilarious. There's nothing malleable right now. There's nothing that's appetizing to kind of review and chat about. There's nothing at all, to be honest. I'm looking at it more of on a micro scale. I'll get into this because right now, like, I'm looking at BNN, even in the Canadian real estate investing forum there, to kind of get any information that we can kind of move forward. There's not much I can kind of bring to the people here that I'm seeing that'll give us some indication of where we're going. Because everything right now, even on BNN, again, you got to watch, like, a lot of these things are left wing, so it's like Biden Harris. So I'm looking at real estate stuff, and it's like not Biden, Harris and Walsh or whatever the hell it is, and it's taken up all the real estate world, which is kind of shitty. We don't have good information to bring on. What I will talk about is on a micro level, talking to people in and around business in Canada. Clearly, if it's small, mid, and large businesses, specifically in construction. What you got to look at here, you always look at it. So the sources of employment in Canada. Number 1 is going to be construction. Number 2 is government. 3, manufacturing. We don't manufacture much anymore. And then ultimately we have a tech industry. So you kind of go through all this. The tech industry, 95% of the AI community that's stationed out in Canada, I think it's out in Kitchener-Waterloo, 95% of them said they will not expand in Canada, and more than likely egress out of the country. So we're going to lose a tech industry. Manufacturing, we don't manufacture much, even though now the Canadian dollar is much lower than the American dollar. So that usually gives manufacturing a breath of air, so we can kind of, they can buy stuff from Canada. U.S. can buy manufacturing from Canada at a lower price, and it makes sense for them. So that's the only thing. But we don't do much anymore. Government's government; they'll always be employed, and then you get into construction. So construction is a huge industry, obviously, and this is where all our six figures workers. There's a high concentration of six-figure workers in this industry, and this is our citizens that are bringing forward the economy, where it's high spending, moving money in and out of the taxation and stuff like that. So it's kind of fueling a lot of stuff. And if you look at where they are currently right now on employment, being employed, it's pretty drastic right now, to be honest, because in the past, trades were everything. You couldn't get trades. They were like very short. You had to import them. It was a whole thing. Not anymore. They're lining up for jobs right now. So if you got a lot of construction workers lining up for jobs, what are they bringing their skill to? What are they going to do if you're not, being an electrical contractor or a union, a licensed electrical, plumbing, framing, whatever it is? If you can't apply that skill to a job, you're not getting paid big dollars that you're normally used to. Where do you bring that skill, and where do you make that money? A lot of these people obviously bought and own based on their employment, their income, which is always, a lot of those guys are in the six figures plus, and now they don't have that. So what happens to their properties? What happens to what they own? Again, this is doom and gloom or whatever, but I mean, ultimately, you got to look at this on a micro scale. If you're talking to a lot of people, a lot of the low-rise sector is decimated because of the lack of sales in the last couple of years, clearly. High-rise, yes, it's a longer project. If they've taken off already, then it's, takes 3 years to complete. That's employment for sure. That'll hold up some employment. But a lot of these guys are not putting a shovel in the ground. A lot of these builder developers, doesn't make sense currently right now, especially with the financing. Because financing is a huge issue, because now they can kind of scale back and get the labor costs a little bit down. Maybe not even, actually, because if they're union workers. So there's a lot of stuff there that you got to look at, because if union's always going to be a certain salary, it's not like if you're going ununionized, you can kind of bring down some of the prices to bid the job, get the job, I think, keep the guys working. So it's a whole thing with that. So a lot of these guys, unemployed construction workers going forward, this is going to be a worrisome sector going forward and this again translates into the value of real estate. If you can't get your high salaried workers employed to pay expenses and hold on to what they have, this could be another influx of inventory going forward into the market. Again, hopefully everything turns out. Hopefully they start jacking down or lowering down these rates faster than they need to, and then ultimately rejig the market and get going. But again, that's all we got right now. So keep me posted. If you have any questions, let us know. We are still selling houses in today's market. Clearly, what we give our sellers going forward is everything up front. Caveat: prepare 30, 60, 90 days to sell a property. We're not going to say we're going to bang it out in a weekend. As long as we're priced according to market. Sometimes you want to keep a little bit of a negotiating room. In today's market, you want to be a little bit below the market value, just to kind of give yourself a little bit more legs on the market when buyers are looking currently right now. And another caveat we're telling our sellers going forward: first offer, expect it to be low. Don't think you're going to get something close to asking and you're going to get something, and then you get something very low, and then you're disheartened and you're upset and you feel like you're being taken advantage of by the buyers. It's not the case. This is the market. We got to play it. And what I tell all our buyers, again, this is right on the listing presentation, the same night: expect a very low offer. You don't have to accept it. We're going to work the shit out of it. That's what we do in today's market. So if you're listed at 800, for example, they come on at 720, don't relax. We didn't accept it. We're going to work it up. We're going to work this thing back and forth until we get to a breaking point, because there's going to be one point where buyer's not willing to give another dollar, and the seller's obviously not at the point where he wants to accept this offer. No problem. That's the breaking point. At that point there, we make a decision. If it's too low for the seller, then we kill that deal and we move on to the next lead. But we need to exhaust every piece of paperwork that comes in today's market. This is why you have professional real estate agents at this time. In the hot market, anybody can sell a house. Clearly now you're going to need a little bit more persistence, let's just say that. But that's it, guys. Have a great day.